So I saw this topic on another podcast, and it was basically the question was, do you believe major labels can just push a button and make a superstar? Record recording labels, music.
Right. Okay, so the red button theory.
Correct.
Uh, okay, for me it depends on like the context in terms of the red button. Is it like just anybody? Can anybody be made a star? Or just
Yeah, can you
like
take
can they make me a star?
my non-rapping ass tomorrow with the push could be at Coachella.
Yeah. In any other time in the history of music, I would say no. But because music has been become so watered down with like AI and shit now, it's possible. Like do it like I mean, is it like most rap performers are bad performers now? So it's like, could you go out there and do it, be a bad performer? Hell yeah. That sounds horrible to say, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Okay,
don't,
but the
it's
question
not
says star.
okay,
Uh,
star. You know what? I would say no, because you know what, as much as like the thing nowadays is like I watched an interview earlier, we'll actually get to it a little bit later, but like
yeah,
where this particular person said, do you want to be a working professional or do you want to be a celebrity? Now
yeah.
you can be a celebrity, you can date a Kardashian, you can be hot, be famous, and you'll be out of here in X amount of your 15 minutes will be up pretty soon. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But Chris
It's like, yeah,
Humphries.
you could be the nigga of the month. You know,
Yeah.
like you could blow up for a little bit and have a run, but if you have ultimately no substance or limited talent or range or consistency, people are going to catch on to that eventually, and they're going to
Yeah.
realize that you're not what you were sold to be. Like everybody, we bumped that song Munch for however long, and who's listening to Ice Spice now? Like, you know what I mean?
Um,
Like,
yeah. So I don't think you can push a button. I really don't.
yeah,
I think that it's just Occam's razor, right? If they could, they would just do it, you know.
right.
You
Like,
know, if they
no
could
one would be
just
shelved.
if they could make Tyler Rihanna, they just would hit the button. Then why would they
Yeah,
not? You know, like so I don't think you can just
correct.
hit a button. I think you can scrumble up a hit,
Yes,
here and there, but I think fans are good at discerning who's passionate about making music and who's in it to make some money.
right.
And I think that's why Glorilla pops and Ice Spice doesn't. It's because we
Correct.
can feel that Glorilla actually enjoys making music.
The craft.
Correct. That's why it's like controversy aside, I believe the baby would have faded anyway because this is just a
Hmm.
job to him, and it's readily apparent when you hear his music that he's just hitting buttons. And like Lil Baby too, it's like they're just following a
Yeah.
formula. This works. They don't care to change it because they don't care about this. This is just it's like they're just selling
It
dope,
was just it's a
but it's
way to get
music.
yeah, it's just
They
right.
don't
You're just
actually
hustling
care
bar.
about the chemistry and the dope that they create. They just
Yeah,
trying to
instead
make
of
turn a
moving weight,
profit. Right.
you're moving streaming numbers. Like that's
Correct.
really kind of all it's like I don't care. Like if that was the case, there'd be more than one Michael Jackson. If the
Yeah.
red button existed to the degree to which people assume that it is.
Now I
You know what I
do
mean? Like I
think
don't
that it's a little easier with singers because you can write it, they have to be able to sing. But like
yeah,
once you have a baseline of vocal talent, you can put a machine behind them as
anyone can
far as
write.
like you
Yeah,
write them a song, you can get them producers, you can get them vocal coaches, you can get them choreographers. The
right.
problem that none of these people pop is because no one can sing anymore. But that's a whole different
No.
conversation.
Yeah.
And R&B is just much more expensive to produce than rap music. Like you can just
That's
you sit
true.
a
You just
rapper
need
in
a
a
couple
studio with
tracks.
a producer and that's it. With R&B, you
Yeah.
need a vocal coach, you need background singers, you need musicians, you need
You need yeah.
songwriters, you need choreographers, you need rehearsal. You have to rehearse R&B in a way you don't have to rehearse rap,
Yeah,
even
you
though
need
rappers
stage
should
presence. You
rehearse.
need yeah. You
You
need
need to
movement
record
coaches,
more than
all
one
that.
time because you have to layer your vocals. You can't. There's a reason when you sing along
Correct.
to a song in the studio recording, you find yourself jumping all over the place
Out of
because
breath and shit.
because
Yeah.
there's layers to it, and that's why they have background singers live
Yeah.
because you can't sing the whole track. That's not possible.
Correct. And even
Um,
with that, some singers, not all singers do their own stacking.
yeah,
Like their vocal stacking. Like I can't remember who I was listening to. I believe it was the Joe Budden podcast where they're talking about like the thing that made Mike different and special, aside from his obvious talent, was his work ethic. Like he would stack his own 16s. Like stacking 16 layers of yourself. Like he didn't have to do that. He could have
yeah.
had somebody them go in and pitch his voice up or down to make it seem like an echo or so on and so forth. But he was like, nah, fuck that. I'm going in and I'm re-recording this shit myself. And well, obviously we know how the story ended. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just a lack of just like it just it feels like, and I hate being like, oh, he was like, oh, it wasn't as good as it was back then, but it really feels like they don't give a fuck now. Like
So,
it's just a lack of care.
yeah, I know. I realize every generation thinks the best music they was made when they were 16 years old. That's not a coincidence.
Right.
But I really feel like I know this time I'm a bit serious. Like it really
Like dead
does suck.
ass. It's really not. It's really not the same.
My most unpopular opinion is that I don't particularly care for Michael Jackson's music.
That is insane.
I
We've talked about
just
that just in life, but that's still crazy to me.
it's bizarrely asexual
He
office
has
Christmas
deep
party
cuts.
music. Which it's
That's
good
true.
music, but like it just it's office Christmas party music. It's elevator music. It's the greatest elevator music of all time, but I like my music a
That's
bit
wild.
bit more passionate, a bit more funky, a bit more authentic. So
Have you heard They Don't Care About Us? And have you seen that music
yeah,
video?
the song sucks.
What? That's crazy.
Song is not good.
Well, I think some songs don't need to be the best song to be impactful. Like they don't have to be all lyrical, miracle, spiritual. You know what I mean? Like the This Is America song is very simple, but it's the video that makes it
That's
made it the
also an
cultural
awful
phenomenon that
song.
it was. I didn't say it was a great song, but the timing of it and the message of the video and the symbolism was what, made it pop.
it was when was that song released? What year was that song released? I bet you it's like 2017. It's like there's just a
Was that during the
time.
pandemic? Was it during the pandemic?
This is America release date 2018. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was
2018.
peak.
Okay. So
I
right
knew it
before.
was peak Trump derangement syndrome. Like peak Oscar so white. Oh my God, I'm eating hot sauce in front of my white coworkers. I'm revolutionary. Like that. I just knew
I'm
it was that time
revolutionary.
period. Like, look at me. I'm being a revolutionary. I'm eating fried chicken in the break room. Because I'm black. It's funny. This is fighting the power. Anyways, what'd you have, man?
um okay, so did you see the Anthony Mackie interview on I Am Athlete?
I
Or
saw the
sorry, not I Am Athlete,
clips.
my bad. Ooh, the pivot.
I saw the clips. I have not seen. I saw the clips where everyone went crazy because he said he raised his son to have manners.
Yeah.
Which the most benign observation I've ever seen. I just was like,
Right.
the Jordan thing was weird. Okay, cool. And I thought it's a
Yeah.
bit of a contradiction to say you don't get fancy stuff. You're a child, and then end with you're the man of the house when I'm not home. Those two things don't. Those are incongruent beliefs.
That's fair.
But no, other than that, it was just like he sounded like a 50-year-old man from Louisiana who wants to raise
Thank
upstanding
you.
men. I
Yeah,
don't.
like
I don't. He looks young, so I think people don't
yeah, he
realize he's
looks
50
so
years
people,
old. Yeah, but
yeah.
like he sounds like a 50-year-old black man from the South. Like I don't.
Right.
It seems
And it's
sound normal to me. Sound like my
yeah,
dad. My dad's 60 something now,
right.
but like he just sounded like a 50-year-old Southern black man. You're going to take out the garbage. I'm sorry, but to them, men take out the garbage. Men open doors.
Right.
Men like I just
Yes,
that
sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am.
I mean, I don't understand the controversy here. And what's funny to me
Yeah.
is there was like a couple people saying that his comments were homophobic. And I was like, the
Okay,
fact
that's
that
just stupid.
well, the saying those comments are homophobic is homophobic. And here's why. He was preaching masculinity. There are masculine gay men.
That is true. That is entirely true. Yeah.
Your idea of a gay man is a flaming pink, fairy tale, fairy.
Right. It's been
But like there
distorted by
are
what you see on
masculine
TV.
presenting gay men all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like I don't. You, it's homophobic for you to see him say men should take out the garbage and think that's anti-gay.
Right.
It's there are masculine gay men. They
And
exist.
on and on top of that, it's okay. So there's two things that points I wanted to make in regards to the interview. Well, several, but in general. So like
One
the
more point
homophobia
though.
thing.
It's the other thing,
Okay,
like
yeah.
with the barbershop, and it's like
Yeah, I
gay
saw
men
that
are
too. Yeah.
uncomfortable in the barbershop, and it's like, well, do you think we take a questionnaire when they walk in? Like, because you think all gay men are walk in screaming it's raining men. You think that there are no gay men in the barbershop. And
Right.
I don't ask who they sleep with in the barbershop, but I'm certain some of them have someone in the barbershop has dated a man before by the law of averages because
Just numbers and
we
stuff.
don't
Yeah.
take a questionnaire. Anyways, go
Right.
ahead.
Yeah. And right. And so there was the thing about the whole he's obviously very traditional or not even traditional because he also mentions treating women with respect.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of there's a viral clip of him doing an interview with Wendy Williams. This is back like probably like 6 or 7 years ago before she had her issues and stuff, where he was like talking about I guess there was a quote he said that got taken out of context, And so she asked him about it, and she was like, "So what's this about you saying like if a woman should just like make you a sandwich if you say make her a sandwich?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Okay, so if we go to, I'll take you out to eat, and they send the checkout. You expect me to grab it, right?" She's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, if we're walking down the street and someone says something disrespectful to you, you expect me to smack him in the mouth, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, well then you make me a sandwich when I ask you to make me a sandwich." And he worded it obviously like very politically incorrect, but he's a 45-year-old nigga
He's a
from
black,
Louisiana.
yeah, he's a
So
Southern man.
so
Like
what he's
they didn't
saying
take your
is
gender studies class at Yale.
right.
Like,
So what he's
sorry, they're
saying
not gonna
is
sound like that.
exactly. So his point was if I'm providing for you, you should also provide for me. It's just that provision comes in different forms based on the nature of the relationship. Um,
I mean, what works
and
for
I
him
also
works for him. I don't. I'm not.
right for sure, yeah.
I
It's no
am.
different strokes for different folks, but
I'm an excellent home cook, so I actually don't like women in my kitchen. Just sit there and
get
be
the fuck
pretty.
out.
Yeah, like I have a system. Sit there and be pretty. Whatever you want to cook for me, I'm better at making it. I promise. And so so well, yeah, but what I understand the underlying premise of his thing, and
Right,
I would have worded it better. But
correct.
what bothered me is what like people were like what I think happened is they jumped off the porch at his original like his comments of with about the men talking about his boys.
Right, right,
And they
right.
jumped off the porch and they were reacting to what they thought he said and not what he actually
Correct.
said. And
Yes.
so when they were corrected in saying when people were like, "Well, did you listen to it? What he said was rather benign." They were like, "Well, in 2007 he was on Wendy and he said make a sandwich." Like, well, no,
Right,
that's not what we're
right.
talking about.
That was and
You
that's
just
also not what and that's
we
also
moved the
not what he said.
goalposts. What you
Like
just did, if you want, that's different context. You jumped off the porch about that video.
yeah,
I'm telling you that's what that video was benign. You went back 10 years to talk about something else. That's
which
not
was also
a
benign.
that's not what we're talking about. Can we stick to the
Correct.
story at hand?
And then the thing too is, so I watched the whole interview before it went viral. I just saw it came up, and I like watching interviews of actors, and so I watched it, and he was talking about like so people trying to call him homophobic. It's like he literally in the interview he was like, well, one of the a life changing experience for me was when I played a gay because they asked me about the. You see that his episode of Black Mirror on
No,
Netflix?
no,
It was phenomenal. Have you heard about it? It was like super controversial.
no.
Well,
I
in
mean,
the
I haven't
episode,
even watched one
so
episode of
in the
Black Mirror.
episode, he kisses a man. So
Okay.
everybody was like, "Oh shit, a black actor who's straight, he kissed a man," like And so they asked him about it on the podcast, and he was like, "Well, I played a gay character beforehand in I think in when he went to Juilliard or in a play he did like on Broadway or whatever the case may be." And he said, "Playing a gay character actually helped me understand my gay brother." And then he's like, I had gave I went he was like, I went to theater school. I
Yeah.
most of
I
my
was gonna
friends
say
were gay.
at
You know what I mean?
Juilliard,
Like, yeah, like I went to
he was the
Juilliard, like
minority being a straight
right.
dude. Like
And he's like, but he was like, did I grow up with homophobic views and problematic views? Absolutely. But I learned through exposure in the world, and that is not, that was not the proper way of thinking, um, and how to treat people and so on and so forth. But so like for people to try to say like that bled into homophobia, I get in theory because you thought that ideology was parallel to homophobia
yeah.
in terms of toxic masculinity, but that's not what he was preaching, and it's the complete opposite message that he was trying to send.
Again, it's also quite homophobic to think masculinity is anti-gay. Um,
Correct.
no, it's funny, like because he's a southern black man and he has some regressive views on gender roles or whatever. It's always funny when you
Right.
hear like some hipster black person from Brooklyn will like talk to his white friends and be like, when you go home for Thanksgiving, do you correct your ism uncle? And it's like, motherfucker,
Right.
when you go
No.
home from Thanksgiving, do you correct your
Do you
ism
correct your
uncle?
homo? Not even that. Do you correct your homophobic uncle or aunt? Like, let's cut the bullshit, okay?
Yeah, I tell the white homies all the time, man. We hear the same crazy shit when we go back home. Like it's just
Yep. The only difference is, so I have this analogy. Black, it's a bit extreme, so
yeah.
take it with a grain of salt. But basically, it's white people are to racism what black people are to homophobia. Like, look, we can't sit up here and act like
Well, it's just like the
we
median
don't have
black
our inherent
person
like. There's
is
not
the median black person is just more religious than like the median other minority.
correct.
And
That's
religious
fair. That's
people,
true.
by and large,
All right.
because of what the nature of religion is, you're not going to find very many, pro LGBT mainstream religions because it just doesn't,
Correct.
from an evolutionary standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. You create a religion to spread, and you spread a religion mostly by reproducing children, and you cannot reproduce children in a homosexual relationship. So most mainstream religions are going to be anti-gay because there's an evolutionary pressure to reproduce, and you just can't reproduce
Right.
it without traditional relationships. So I mean, not naturally. I'm sure we
Right,
modern
right.
modern evolution has
Modern
created a way
medicine,
for it to
yes.
happen, but when religions were
Correct.
created in 16 million whatever, that we didn't have, intro IVF. That's what it
Intra
was.
vitro, yeah, IVF. I thought I had
In
it.
vitro
Yeah,
something.
in vitro, that's it.
IVF.
In vitro
IVF.
fertilization. In vitro fertilization,
In
yeah.
vitro fertilization.